Good morning and welcome to the Rewind Show, the Sunday supplement 183. Absolute pleasure, as it always is, to be with you on a Sunday morning, even though no football yesterday, but we have got a lot to talk about. We're going to be chatting about the Euxton Villa win in the Lancashire Challenge Trophy. We've got Daisiel next week. We've got all what's going on at Manchester United at the moment, the new era at the club, and also what's going on at Man City as well. Another defeat for Pep yesterday. So we'll be chatting about that and more. And over at the sports bar, in his usual position on a Sunday, is Brent Peters. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm surviving. That's the main thing.
You are surviving. I've been chatting to you. I chatted to you yesterday because I was asking you what kind of week have you had. Well, it went on for a good 45, 50 minutes in the end.
Oh, it's a nightmare, mate. It's a nightmare.
It's been a testing one, hasn't it, for you?
Listen. You don't need to go in the jungle to have to have all blinking episodes like there is been going on. I've been out of the jungle
you've not been eating kangaroo testicles, have you?
not quite. But blinking heck, it's been a nightmare. Seriously, absolutely. It's been varied. It's been different. But wow, what a nightmare.
So go on then. Well, it started off. We had a good start to the week with Euxton.
But before that,
we'll come to that. But go on, when did it kick in?
Well, it started on Monday. Would you believe? So on Monday, I'm just going about. We've got like a football team, obviously working here from working on the roof and putting the new roof on. So we've got like plenty of bodies on here, 10 guys were here working. They'd not long been gone in the afternoon when Stephen, Steve. So we've got Stevens. Obviously, he's a soul to the earth. He's absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't say he's the old man because that's degrading a little bit. I won't say that, but he's a retired gentleman that comes up and potters about, supports the club, loves the club. He's actually Billy Joe's partner's granddad, Tommy's granddad, and he's took a avid interest in the team and in the club. And every week he comes up and he potters about, he empties all bins, he keeps the place tidy, keeps it spick and span. Any little odd jobs. I mean, you probably noticed when we've had the floodlights, having to have changed bulbs on the floodlights. It's a task because of the barrier round. You've got to take it. It's a 2-man job because you've got to take the panels out. Yeah. So where that last floodlight bulb went, he's put. So we've removed the panels now, and he's put like a wooden barrier thing in that is easier to handle. So he's good at everything. He puts his hand to everything. He's very, very good. And I'm in here and I'm getting on with my work and I'm answering emails. And then next thing, I'm on the phone. So I weren't really looking, but he's got white hair. And then next thing, when he's turned round and he's coming here, he's got white hair. But the white hair, I thought he were representing Manchester United at Wembley because and he were wearing one of them, them silly things that they have with red and white because they were red in his white hair. So he's obviously bleeding badly from his head. So he's coming, we sat him down, Deborah and Billy Joe were here, we sat him down and then I've come off the phone, I've tied him up, he's banged his head, he's fell over near the garage and he's cracked his head, so I've cleaned him up, but he didn't pass the test of what you have to do for, concussion. So I said, right, we're going to have to take you down to walking centre. So off we pop. I took him down to walking centre. So my afternoon's down at walking centre, and because of his age, it's protocol that he's got to go to hospital and be checked out. So it comes up because the same trust at Rottenstall's, the same trust as that slaughterhouse at Blackburn. Yeah. Well, I won't even go anywhere near. So I've gone. I'm sorry, can he not go anywhere else? I'm not taking him to that slaughterhouse at Blackburn. Can't be doing with it. Well, you can take him to Bury if you want. Yeah. So anyway, cut long story short, so we're taking him to Bury. But Billy Joe, by this time, had gone and picked his wife up, and they were outside. So they took him off to hospital, and that relieved me. So that was Monday. So he's kind of gone to hospital, hurt himself on here, full of blood. Didn't get home one midnight, so that was the start of it.
Yeah, but he's okay. Yeah,
thankfully he's all right. Yeah, he's all right. He's back on track. But then again, he come about Thursday. Walked in, first thing he does, I'll just have a look. I said, Stephen, it's bad out there. Don't come on, stay in here. You know, that's the kind of guy he is. He wants to be doing all the time. But yeah, so that started it off. And then Tuesday, as you know, we had a game at Euxton in the Lancashire Football Association Challenge Cup, and we'll come on to Euxton shortly. Yeah. So we went to Euxton. That was the highlight of the week, but that was probably the only highlight of the week. Everything from that moment on, it went downhill. So Wednesday, we had all the lads here from Century cladding again, breathing it started to get the freezing, the frost, the snow, that were coming in. So on Wednesday, you know, it were difficult conditions around here. I had a meeting with Budweiser over you know, the bar and everything like that. And then on Thursday, so it weren't really a bad day. It was just the fact that obviously we're competing with snow and ice. And then Thursday, the pitch and the surrounds were covered in snow, absolutely covered. You've seen a picture, Stephen.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe what I'm hearing. So I'm there again, getting on with my work. Next thing, door opens. A member of the under 23 staff walked in.
Yeah.
I went, "How you doing? Are you all right? Do you want a brew? You know, I want all them." "Yeah, I'm all right. I'm just coming and check it." Now he lives in the area. He's seen the area is absolutely. It's a car crash waiting to happen out there, right? The pitch is full of snow. There's ice everywhere. You can't move. It's as white as blinking wall you paint, right? I'm just coming, just checking that I was fixed for Friday on under 23s. I said, "Are you right in the head?"
What a muppet!
I said, "Are you for real? You want to know if the under 23s have got half a chance?"
Get snowshoes on.
So you know what? That was my highlight then on Thursday. I'm thinking, what? It was -4. Pitch is full of snow, -4, and he's asking, "Is there any chance under 23s will play tomorrow?" So anyway, we got over that one. So it's snowing like the clappers. It's snowing Thursday night, really coming down. Friday morning, I get a phone call. One of my drivers isn't coming in. He's not well. He's not coming in. I have a van that's parked here at Bacup. So from where I live, it's probably 10 minutes away, but it's not the best, you know, and you're not the best to get from and to. So I'm out on the road at 6:30. I've come up here. It's carnage everywhere. The roads haven't been gritted. It's a car crash waiting to happen. My car's automatic, so I'm not in, which I hate completely. Look, I love the car, right? But I don't like automatics. It's crap driving, it's lazy driving, and you're not in control anyway. So the next thing that happens proves my point. So the next thing, I'm coming up, I think, right, there's a few ways of attacking Bacup. We're up on top of an hill. I'm not going to go around Gordon Street, which is the normal way that you come round and up that steep hill. That's no chance, right? And I'm not going to go round. You can go round. I'm not going to go that way. I'll attack it off Todmorden Road, because the kind of, and come up what they call Carlton Street off Todmorden Road. You know, it's not as aggressive in the hill coming up. No. So I starts to come over there. I've got my traction on to go up the hill, and everything's going all right. I'm getting up the hill. I'm swinging the car about so that side to side. So I'm getting up the hill, and I'm getting really nearly to the top of the hill. When all of a sudden, the light comes on in the car, warning of gearbox failure. And then next thing that happens, because I'm skidding, I'm like sliding around, stop. So it stops, I've no traction. So I can't get forward, because it's automatic.
Yeah.
So I can't get drive, and it won't go in neutral. It won't go in park. It was just stuck wherever it was stuck in, what gear it was stuck in. And I'm stuck in middle of the road, so I'm causing carnage by this time.
Yeah.
So big do's and little do's. We managed to, like, a guy came out of an house and he had one of these, what tells you about fault codes, but he didn't, thanks for helping me, but I don't think he realised what he was doing. But we managed to get it into neutral so we could roll it back and get it away from where it were. I've got a meeting scheduled at 9 o'clock with my accountant. So by 9, I'm still sat. This has happened from 6:30, 6:45. So 6:45 in the morning, by this time, I have to ring Renault Assist, which is linked to the RAC. What an absolute car crash that were.
Yeah.
So, are you in a safe place? Yeah, I'm in a safe place. Right, okay. Right, no wonder they said to me, right, you're booked in. Just go and get yourself a cup of tea, get yourself warm, make sure you're all right, and keep watching your updates on your phone. So luckily, I'm 5-minute walk from the club.
Yeah.
In terrible conditions, but 5-minute walk from the club. So I've set off walking to the club. I look at my updates and it said, right, somebody will be with your vehicle between 10 and 12, but we'll ring you before they come. So 12 o'clock come and went, still nobody been anywhere near the vehicle. Next thing, another update comes, your next update, somebody will be with you between 3 and 5. So it's now gone from that time to 3 and 5. So I'm just getting on with my work at the club. So 3 and 5, no problem. Then it moves again. So it's going to be between 6 and 10. Well, this is getting beyond a joke now. So I start getting on the phone. I said, is somebody taking the absolute Michael here?
Yeah.
I said, I'm not being funny. So I cracked on. I said, I'm sat in a car, right? I've been sat here since 6:45. It's freaking absolute freezing. And buddy, you ought to be suffering from hypothermia if you don't get somebody out here quick. Now, what I'm trying to get at here, obviously that weren't happening, but it'd just been the same if that did happen.
Correct.
You know, luckily I was only like 5-minute walk from the club. So, I'm sorry, we're really busy. We'll get somebody else. We'll pass it on to somebody else. So they put it on to somebody called iRescue. So iRescue comes and says to me, "Oh, yeah, we'll be out. It's probably going to be about 8 o'clock before we can get to you." So by this time, it's like gone 12 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm still no nearer. So next thing, anyway, this van eventually comes and he's thinking that he could clear my computer and then everything will be all right. Won't clear my computer. So that posed another problem. So he went, I'll have to book a rescue. You'll have to be towed into Renault. Right, okay, right. So it'll have to be tomorrow morning now, right. So what's the time window for tomorrow morning? So now it's gone over to Saturday. So what's the time window for tomorrow morning? Right, it's between 8 and 11. Right, that's fine. That's fine because the garage will shut at 12 o'clock. Right, so yeah, no problem. So I'm up and about, ready to go, 8 o'clock till 11 o'clock. Nothing, not heard a thing, not heard a bean, anything. Right, so I'm looking at my updates. My updates are moving. It's now gone into afternoon. So it's on again. So it's moving into afternoon. So I'm thinking this is absolutely horrendous. So cut a long story short, it got to the situation. They were moving it until it had gone to up to 6 o'clock in Saturday afternoon. But then when I went down to Bacup, right, luckily I had a van outside here, so I went down to Bacup. It was carnage. Bacup were absolute carnage. You know, flooded everywhere. And I mean floods you've not seen before. It were unbelievable. So in the end, I had to ring them up and say, listen, you're not going to get anywhere near that car because of floods. The shutting roads left, right and centre, so we just got to put it. So the moral of the story is, we're now at Sunday doing the rewind show. My car is still where it broke down on Friday morning at 6:30, and it's now not getting picked up till Monday morning. There you go. And this is the RAC.
Story, you might want an alternative to RAC. You may want an alternative.
I sent them. They said you need to send in a complaint, so I sent a sarcastic complaint. I am just complimenting you on your horrendous service.
That's absolutely crazy. Because if that was just think if that's a female on her own and maybe somewhere out in the middle of nowhere,
it's crazy. Honestly, we're madness.
Shouldn't be allowed that.
Oh, honestly, madness, and it's still there now. I've just come past it this morning.
Anyway, let's move on to the good stuff, because on Tuesday there was some good stuff, and it was a very good win against a team who we've spoke about many times, who were a well-drilled team at Euxton Villa, and we came through it 3-0. You must have been really happy with that performance, Brent.
I were absolutely over the moon. I were made up for the lads and everything. But what made it more sweeter was the fact that a lot of key players were missing.
Yeah.
And it just proves a point that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what players are in a team, but if you set your team up and everybody's disciplined in the way that you set them up, then you've got more than a good chance of coming through the game and winning the game. And that's happened to me in the past. I remember going many years ago, I was kind of on bare bones here, and I remember playing Woodley Sports, which is now Stockport Sports. Yeah. And they were flying at the time, and I got blinking heck. I was struggling like mad with injuries, suspensions, and struggling. And I threw a team together, and we kind of organised them, made us difficult to beat, and we got a positive result out of it. And the thing were going to Euxton on Tuesday, I'd already, because listen, how many times we played, and we got beat with them in the Vase.
Yeah,
we got beat with them in the Macron Cup,
and beat with them in the league,
and we got beat with them in the league. Now, there were circumstances in all them games, what happened, and that's not taking anything away from Euxton, who are a very, very good side.
And
even Euxton, yeah. But I'd made a decision weeks and weeks ago that I weren't going to go and play them again with our trusted way that we play. I thought I'm going to change something. And I was adamant I was doing it. It's a cup tie. It is what it is. It's kind of, excuse the terminology, it's shit or bust. I'm going to, this is the team that
knows how to beat us.
That knows how to beat us. That's a good point. But equally, not just knows how to beat us, but they've been unbeaten and still are. Well, they've lost one game now, and that's our lads on Tuesday. But they hadn't been beaten since they've had a 3G put on that pitch.
Yeah,
they've won every game there, and they won again I believe they won again yesterday against Nelson. Yeah. So basically, there was that challenge. At some point, they were going to have to get beat there. But I was adamant that we've gone against them, we've gone toe to toe, and we've set up this way. I'm going to set up a different way. And I had long conversations with Alan Taylor, my coach, my technical coach, and I had long conversations with Ryan Russell, my fitness coach. When I had long conversations, I kind of told them what I was thinking, told them the shape I wanted to play. They backed me. We went through it. We spoke about it. They backed me. But there were probably one shock, and it was circumstances that probably shocked everybody. And you know what I'm about. In terms of, I've done it before when we've had midfield players sat on the bench, and then I've moved. When something's not going right, or through injuries or whatever, I've moved a striker into midfield rather than put a midfield player on off the bench, because I've trusted the lads on the pitch, to be able to adopt to another position that wouldn't let me down. And I've done it. And I mean, and in reverse to that, I've done it before with Bradley Hancock, this is the key one, where I've moved him from a left-back position and moved him to a, higher up the pitch, like more of a number 10 position, because I've always said that Bradley Hancock has a lot to offer, higher up the pitch than just be a defender.
Yeah.
And I've took, I wouldn't say it's taking a chance, but I'm a kind of a guy that it's not taking chances, it's believing in my players.
Yeah.
And I believe in them. And in this instance, I know I've come on this show a couple of weeks back, and I've been after the Ashton Town game away, and I were very critical of out of possession of two players out of possession. One were a young academy player that has been released from Preston. I mean, in possession he's excellent, but out of possession he's got to learn that side of things.
Yeah.
And I were very critical because in some respects I thought that out of possession he kind of were a contributing factor why we kind of lost that game. And equally, I'm also critical of a player that I put on as a substitute, and I even said the words that, I didn't even know he were on the pitch. He gave us nothing when he came on, if you remember. But but the player I'm talking about, when he's on it, he's a top player. He'd be one of the first names on the team sheet.
Yeah.
When he's on it, but he has to be on it. Now, and I also went on this show, on the Sunday Supplement Rewind show, saying that I'd seen him play a couple of games at the back for the under-23s.
Yeah, for Ryan Russell.
Yeah. So,
at the back,
yeah. So I also said that I'd seen him playing for the under-23s. And I also went on the show and said, well, he's not going to be challenging. I find it amazing why he's playing there, because that's not where he's going to be challenging in the first team. He should be playing where he's going to be challenging. But I then spoke, which I've got to give some mounting credit to Ryan, because Ryan had the vision for him to play at the back. Now anybody who doesn't know, when somebody's been at a foot, and I've said this, I've touched on this in the past, when you're at a football league club, they coach you, they like you to play varying positions. So in other words, if you're an out and out striker and you're a striker, there'll be times where they'll put you and they'll play in several games and give you a new dimension to your game, so you can see it from the other side, how the other sides live. Is they'll put you to defence and let you play in defence, even though you're a striker. So when I've watched the player in question playing for the under-23s, which again I've got to give Ryan Russell great credit, because he's seen that vision that he can play there, and obviously he'll have had the conversation with him. He won't have just put him there. We do that. We have a conversation. Are you going to be comfortable? Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'll play there, no problem. So I've watched him, and he's not looked out of place. He's done the business. He's done quite well. But he gives you. He's not what I would call like a Joey Fallon that's like just going to absolutely be aggressive, win your challenge. He's the other type of that. He complements that, where he kind of reads the situation, and he reads it very, very well, and he brings a bit of class. Yeah.
When I watched him, Brent, just very quickly, I was thinking about it when I came home on that Tuesday night, and I thought, isn't he a little bit like Reece James?
Yeah, well, Reece does that. Reece can play. Yeah. Reece is one. I mean, yeah, exactly. Reece James, and we're not talking Reece James from Chelsea here. We're talking
now at Rotherham, who's a family member.
Yeah. And Reece is, as you know, only probably same build as Connor.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Very, very similar build. But Darren Moore regularly played Reece in a back three, and regularly Reece was the one that would get on the ball and step in and go and join in and higher up the pitch.
Because he had that pace.
Yeah, an ability and technical ability to do that. Now, looking at Connor, what some people won't remember these players that I'm going to throw out, but having seen him and watched him in that game against Euxton Villa, he just reminded me, like back when England won the World Cup in '66, people talk about the late great Bobby Moore. You know, he was a finesse player, he was quality. But going on a bit nearer, you know, in more modern day, you got Franz Beckenbauer. You know, these weren't aggressive players. They just read the game, and they were quality. And coming back to the Euxton Villa game, because I wanted to change the shape. Now, I could have gone and played Callum Hewitt on the back line, which isn't a problem. He's good. Callum can do it. We played Callum there for the start of the game against we played the other Olker. Although it got quickly changed, not through anything that Callum did wrong. Callum can play there. But my point were that if I'd have played because of the players they had available, if I'd have played Callum on the back line, that would have done all right for the back line. Not an issue at all. But I felt we would have been weakened in midfield.
Yeah.
So these people, and I mean, and one player in particular, I'll not mention his name, who were like kind of gobsmacked when the team were announced, and it was announced that he was good. Was like shell shock, and he went like in a bit of a bit of a downer, but you can't be like that because it's looking at the bit. I've watched him play, so I knew that I weren't taking no chances. No. I've seen him. I didn't throw him in there blind. I threw him in there because that's the benefit of the 23s.
Yeah.
Thanks to Ryan Russell playing in there, I've watched him and thought, you know what, he's done well there.
Yeah, he don't look out of place.
He don't look out of place. So when I'm struggling on numbers, I could have gone the easy way and thought, right, all right, Connor plays in midfield and Callum plays on back line. But that, for me, I feel that I would have had a
weakening the side because Callum prime position is in the centre alongside Gervin.
And putting, and no disrespect to anybody here, but putting Connor and Gervin, and the way that I set up the other week, and putting Connor and Gervin and say Joel in a midfield three, that wouldn't give us the same effect. And as a manager, I've got to look. I can't just look at one area. I've got to look at the whole areas. So straight away, I'm thinking, no, I don't like that. That's not going to happen. Do I take it? Is it a chance? I don't think it is a chance. And this is where I have the conversations then with Ryan and Alan, because Ryan and Alan have seen him playing like I've seen him playing. They've put him there at the back, and they've basically agreed with me and said, no, let's do it. So we did it. Yeah. Now, that's the prime thing, that as soon as I've named the team and I've named how we were going for this game in particular, one player in particular is like heads down. He can't. He's struggling,
trying to process it.
He can't. But listen, this is the beauty of managers and coaches. This is why I always say whilst players can, especially the senior players, can have an input, you know, in with their opinion and channel it the right way. I get that, and that's not an issue. But it goes back to, I've had this before, and it's the same with supporters. I've had players here that have come to this club that for a lot of the years have played at centre half. But when I've signed them, for the last probably 18 months, I've signed them as a centre forward.
Yeah.
So when they've come to this club, I've played them at centre forward, and every game. So the supporters have only seen him, a player, as a centre forward. But I know that player who's playing centre forward has played a lot of his career at centre half, but never here has he played at centre half.
No.
And then all of a sudden, because it's a numbers game and you've got injuries and you've got an abundance of centre forwards, but you haven't got an abundance of centre halves.
You know that person can plug the gap.
Correct. So you know that player can plug the gap, so you put him back. But then I hear people going, what's he put in there for? What's he playing in centre half for? He's a centre forward. Hang on. Stop there, gent, sir. Can I ask you a question? How do you know he's not a centre half? Well, you've always played him at centre forward. Well, let me tell you this. It says Tesco on the side of a bus. But it don't mean to say it's going to Tesco's, does it?
Yeah, you've not looked at his career, the fact that he's come from other clubs and he's played in different positions.
Correct. You get me? So coming back to the Connor situation, I just felt we had no Gareth Wager. We had I could have brought in what probably one of the ideal replacements would have been a lad who plays for the 23s, but he was out injured. So it got to the situation, if I wanted to go the shape I went with on this particular game,
there was only one option.
I had to do it. Unless I put Callum there, but I've just said we've just talked about it, not putting Callum there because that'll weaken our midfield. And you know what? For me, after the end of the game, and I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but at the end of the game, for me, he was one of the contenders for man of the match.
Yeah,
because he was quality. He wasn't ruffled. He read the situation admirably.
Yeah. He wasn't being out-sprinted.
He won't be out-sprinted. He got on the ball, and when he got on the ball, he used the ball intelligently. He did very, very, very well. I was really, 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 really taken back and pleased with him. Really pleased with him. Now the issue is like, yeah, that was one game. If we're to do it, could he do that consistently? Now the only time will tell.
Why not?
Well, that's the test now. Is if we do at some point revert back to that shape.
I think if you can play against Euxton Villa, which we know are one of the best teams in the league, we've said that many times. If you can do it against Euxton, chances are you can do it against the other clubs.
Well, he can do it. That's not what I'm trying to get at, Steve. That's not what I'm getting at. The player in question, let's be honest, the player in question should be on every team sheet. He should be on every team sheet because he's got that much quality.
Yeah, I know you're on about the consistency of the player.
I'm on about consistency. I'm on about his attitude and consistency and application. He's got to do that every game. That you sometimes you look at players and you think to yourself, why is this player playing at Borough? And the only thing that you can come back to when he's been around these football league clubs is it doesn't come down to ability. It comes down to other things like attitudes. Now, there's only one person can deal with an attitude situation, and that's the person himself, right? And what I'm trying to get at is when he was put there and he didn't get any pre-warning. Well, he didn't off me unless Ryan, because Ryan knew what we were doing. So Ryan might have tipped him off. But he didn't get any pre-warning off me. So it was kind of thrown at him once the team was named and there was an announcement made just before an hour before the game kicked off. But so at this point, he just goes in. But what I'm trying to say is he could play. Listen. The kid, he can play up front on a 2. He could play up front on a 1. He could play at number 10. He's got the ability to do that. But the question mark doesn't come from that situation. The question mark comes in, like I were critical against Ashton when he went on. Sometimes what happens with him, especially in a midfield role, because he's such a clever player, he will create space for himself in terms of trying to create space. But then our team have got to find him, and the trouble is he finds space for himself. But if our team try to find him but fail to find him, and the ball gets cut out, he's that far off his marker that we get overrun in an off the ball situation, out of possession situation, which, to have the right balance, you've got to have players in there that do both and are switched on to do both. Whereas I have to question, when he puts himself in them positions, he can't, if we lose it, he can't defend it because of the position he's taking up. So the point, what I'm trying to make is, can he play there? He's proved he can play there, like you just said, against Euxton Villa, a very, very, very good side. Did he look out of place? Not at all. He looked quality. He looked class. I thought he more than complimented Joy and Brady. I thought he was quality in different class. So it ticked a box, it proved the point, and it's another string to our bow and his bow. So that was very, very good. Now, the next thing I've got to say about the Euxton game is that I thought throughout the game, I thought we were so disciplined, and we spoke about, me, Alan, and Ryan had spoke about nullifying what Euxton's strength is, especially when from the back when they've got the ball. And by doing what we did, completely nullified that. They had to change their game plan very, 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 very quickly, and it obviously didn't work for them, but it worked for us because of the. But again, it comes down to personnel you've got in your team. You know, as it happened, we had abundant of pace in our team. Some pace just makes a lot of difference because they start to worry about people with pace, you know, and it can change a team's mindset when you're up against somebody with blinding pace. So I felt that everything we did, you know, the way we started the game, and you know, and even in the game, don't forget, before half time, we've lost the services of our captain. He's had to come off because he could feel his hamstring. You see, this is it, 3G pitch. You know, if you've got a slight issue that's wrong with you, a 3G pitch will bring it to the fore. And Michael Gervin, to be fair to Michael Gervin, you know, he was honest as the day's long. He hasn't tried to get through the game. He's turned round and kind of said that I'm struggling. I can't execute my roles and responsibility because I'm worried about my hamstring. So we had to make a quick change on that one. So that gave Ellis Oren the chance to come in. You know, now Ellis, as you know, we've been critical of Ellis out of possession, never in possession. Never once have I been critical of the kid in possession because the kid has got so much ability and he's very, very, very good on the ball. You know, he's excellent on the ball. Again, I come back to academy football and I keep coming back to they're trying to develop footballers, but footballers as in a footballer, what you're capable of doing, but they don't develop your team shape and your roles and responsibility. So Ellis, since he's come to us, wherever the ball is, he's wanting to hunt the ball down, and he goes and he's good on the ball. When we lose possession, he kind of switches off, and that's the mindset we've got. Once he gets that and the penny drops, we've got the world's his oyster. Because
it's kind of having that positional awareness on where he is on the pitch. He's kind of, like you said, he's following the ball. He's wanting to get on the ball, but he's not looking in behind him. No,
exactly. So, you know, I said to him at half time, he sat there after we've done everybody's had to say, I've actually said to him, you're going to win us this game. I feel it, because I just knew, looking round, if he gets half a chance, he'll finish. And lo and behold, he broke the deadlock. And what a strike it were!
Oh, fantastic!
You're a fantastic strike, and he's got that. You watch the goals he scored for us and contributed when he's played. Yeah. You know, he's got that in his locker. But again, I come back to when people say, well, you know, he's a fantastic player, why is he not in the team? Well, he's not in the team because, you know, if we want to achieve what we want to achieve and try to get up there into the Premier League, we've got, it's not a grooming ground where we've got to, you know, we've got to have the real deal players in there to get us up. You know, we've seen the Ashton game where we've give people a chance and it's backfired on us. You know, we've got to have that real deal, and this is why players have got to understand, if they're not in, not because they're bad players, but because they're work in progress and they're not quite there yet in both sides of the game, in possession and out of possession. You know, and these are things we have to work on, and my coaching staff have to work on. But Ellis, I had no hesitation in putting Ellis on. He was the first substitute that went on when Michael Gervin came off, and picked the baton up and ran with it and did what he had to do, and obviously produced an absolute fantastic finish, you know. And then you know, we quickly got the second goal. Was again, we had another substitute on that played a big part, and he hasn't played much football around the first team this year for one reason or another. One reason were because he came to us, he looked unfit when he came. I know he's played around teams that are in an higher league than us, but he looked unfit. And then he booked his holidays at a ridiculous time. Again, he which didn't give him any chance. He booked his holidays kind of at the start of the season, which meant that he missed a couple of weeks at the beginning. And then since he's come back from his holidays, he struggled to get in and stamp his authority on trying to hold down a first team place. But he has, to be fair, and to his credit, and the player I'm talking about is Liam Greenwood, to his credit, he has turned out all the time and every time when Ryan Russell and Alan have given him the nod to come into the 23s. He's played, and I've watched him in the 23s. Now, there's no doubt about his physicality. He's got physicality, and there's no doubt about his ability. He's got absolute fantastic ability. My only criticism, and it is with him, is that there always has to be a means to an end with every player. And he's one of these players, when I've watched him in the 23s, where he's taken players on, beat the next man, and gets giddy, and then tries to beat the next man, and then loses it. So he's got to get that out of his game and know when to release it. Yeah. But that apart, he came in against. I had no hesitation as well about putting Liam on. And Liam went on, and he picked the baton up and ran with it, and he had a big say in kind of the build up to our second goal. Mm. But I felt our second goal, how it happened, where their defender actually did have the ball, but he didn't have it correctly, and Joel fantastically worked tirelessly all night. And to say he'd been ill because he was out the game on the Saturday game, he didn't play in the Saturday game because he'd been ill. He pickpocketed the defender, but still had a lot to do and finished it admirably, quality finish, you know. So we're 2-0 up. We're 2-0 up, and at that point, looking, you know, really, really good for our lead. And then a situation happened at 2-0 where, you know, I'd say probably 8 times out of 10, Joey wins these situations. But this was one occasion when he didn't, and the referee deemed it a penalty. So he gave a penalty. Now this so crucial with the next thing that happened here. Yeah. Because at 2-0, it brings it back to 2. If this goes in, it brings it back to 2-1, and you know it's game on.
Their tails are up then.
Yeah. So it was massive, and you know what, Billy, he never ceases to amaze me. I mean, I'll come back to the penalty, but his positional awareness throughout the game, throughout the half, the way he comes and commands his area. You know, he comes and takes things. He's got, even under pressure, he's got clean hands. You know, he does brilliantly. He's extremely agile. Yeah. You know, he's brave. Exactly. He gets everything right.
Let's not forget how old he is.
Exactly. He's 19, 18 going on 19. I think his mum said by the time he plays next Saturday, it must be this week, his birthday.
He'll be 19, won't he, next time we play against
he'll be 19, yeah. The kid's got a fantastic career, and you know, I have to thank Dave Jones at Atherton LR, because he spoke to me at length about the kid. And he's been proved right. You know, let's keep his feet on the ground, because we can't get giddy, and Billy can't get giddy, because at the end of the day, there's a long, long way for him to go.
I don't think he's a goal. I don't think he's, you know, I chatted to him briefly after. He's not one of them players who's going to get giddy. He's fully focused on where he wants to go and what he wants to achieve in the game.
Yeah, well, that's good, because he's got every chance. He's got every chance.
Oh, yeah.
everything's on his side, and he's got a great platform here. And yeah, he's doing absolutely fantastic. And then he has to step up to this, and this is a really, really big test now. For this penalty, and lo and behold, he saves it. And he saves it.
Kevin's just been in touch. I think Kevin's his dad. He's 19
Oh, he's 19 today. Oh well, happy birthday, Billy. Have an absolute fantastic, great day.
Nice one, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so he stood up to the penalty, and what a massive save that were. Massive. But throughout the game, I mean, he's another one that could have been a strong contender for man of the match, because obviously he was always seemed to be in the right place. Listen, I'm not going to take anything away from Euxton Villa here, but I didn't really see many attempts on goal where the keeper's throwing himself at him and pulling saves left, right and centre. I didn't see that. Yeah, they had a couple of opportunities where they've got in, and for me, you've got to question the players who's got in, because they've missed, they fluffed the lines.
Yeah, I think there were at least one or two where they really should have done some damage and they failed to. Yeah,
they did. So that's their, deficiencies. But when Billy was brought into the action, he was more than equal to it. But it's not just about being brought into the action; it's what he's doing. It's what he's doing before them situations happens, like on crosses coming in and whipped in on him and everything, and the way he's commanding his area. And
it makes it look easy.
He makes it look easy, and he's in cutting, like cutting his near post off, and he's, getting everything right, his positional play and everything. Yeah. He was just his all-round performance on the day, capped by an absolute fantastic penalty save, was nothing short of quality.
Yeah. But then what capped it off came after that, because within a matter of about 60 seconds, Greenwood's involved again, closing down the space, got a fantastic block off. The ball goes across to the left-hand side, about 35 yards out. And what happened next? Flipping heck.
Well, listen. Is this not one of the reasons why? I can hear Brad now. I can hear Brad now if he's watching this show. He never gives me any praise. I throw him up on there and he'll go, I never gives me praise. It's me that, but listen, I see these things in him. His quality. And you know what? I have to give him an apology, because I went through all the players. Well, not all the players, but I went through quite a few of the players at full time. And I'm going on and I never think. And Brad said, "Well, you've not mentioned me there." And I went, "Oh, sorry, Brad." So I'll mention him now. Listen, you know what Brad's got. In everything about Brad Hancock, even in his darkest days, he's a player I want in my team, because he's a winner. I love winners, mate. I love aggression and winners. That's what I'm about. Yeah. No disrespect to anybody. I don't like blinking fannies. I don't like it. Yeah. I like people who want to go in. He
don't mess around the houses, does he? He goes straight for jugular.
Exactly. Sometimes we've got to control him a bit, because he might not stay on the pitch. But listen, football's about that, and that's why when other people come to me against my players and they're showing aggression, I don't have a problem as long as it's fair and square. I don't have a problem, because football's about that.
Yeah, but the cherry on the cake with Brad as well, which stands in good stead, is local. People relate. He's Rosendale through and through, innit? Whitworth.
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah, Whitworth lad. Yeah, he's his dad never misses a game. His dad's here supporting him all the time. And in the past, Linton, my son-in-law, I think played with in the same team as his dad, and I think from what Linton tells me, his dad was a very, very good footballer, and from the mould of from the 60s, 70s, when football was football, not like these pansy blinking pansy things that's going on now. It's blinking pathetic. You know what I mean? And the trouble is, I fear for the game sometimes, because the trouble is when you've got the old school referees put up with your strong physical challenges, like Gareth Wager had put in, like Joey Fallon had put in, like blinking Brad Hancock had put in, like Callum Hewitt had put in, like Ryan Siddall had put in.
They'll have a proper conversation with you.
And because they're used to it. It's these blinking lads that have got, and I don't want to be critical, but it's not their fault. They're getting brainwashed from the powers that be at the FA, and I think to myself, what are you about? Just let the blinking and don't get onto the referees. You know, it's a physical contact sport. You know, exactly. It's a physical contact sport. Let's have that aggression in the team, in the game, because people love it. It gets people on edge of the seats when there's a bit of it. You know, it's kicking off a little bit here. Oh, it's getting a bit blinking on the edge stuff.
I think, you know, we spoke about it loads of times. You know, COVID was a big one, but that's why a lot of people have reverted and a lot of people are leaving professional game and coming to watch non-league football. That's why the numbers have gone up.
I don't disagree, Steve. Yeah, that's right, and it's happened here, and it's live. You know, you're so close to the pitch and close to the action. Yeah, and it's brilliant when you see that happening, and you see that there's a bit of blinking. I call it handbags, but at the end of the day, you know, you're going to get you've got that. And this is why I like playing against the Scousers. You know, people moan about the Scousers. I love the Scousers because listen, John Coleman. Let's talk about when John Coleman were at Accrington Stanley. Accrington Stanley had absolute fantastic success with John Coleman and Jimmy Bell. Right, fantastic success. Right, from non-league team to going into a football league team. The majority, not all of it, but the majority of that team that got them through and trusted people that John and Jimmy could trust was in the name was Scousers. They trusted the Scousers. And the cynics would say, oh, because John's a Scouser, he's picking all Scousers. Well, no, he's picking all Scousers because Scousers are winners.
They'll run through a brick wall.
Let's have it right. They're winners.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, coming back to my players, I love them kind of players. I love, you know, listen, there's no doubts about it. In the past, me and Brad have had a few, you know, but that's football. I'm going to have that because I'm a winner. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I say it as it is. And sometimes people don't accept what I say because they do accept what I say, but they don't like to accept what I say because sometimes I can be hurtful with the truth.
But you'd rather have someone who's going to come back at you, Brent.
Yeah. Well, you know, in the right way, you know, as long as you channeled the right way. But what I'm trying to say to you is that, you know, what I'm saying is that irrespective of what differences you may have with a player, he's probably one of the first names on you because you trust them. You know they're going to run through a wall for you. You know, the players in our camp, whilst we've got good technical players, and I won't take, you know, they're every bit as important. The technical lads are every bit as important as the what I would class the aggressive players. You've got to have that balance. You can't have a team full of aggressive players and no creativity. No. You know, you can't have a team full of plenty of creativity, but you're never going to win the ball because they're tackling with the blinking carpet slippers on. You know, you've got to have that blinking balance. And that's what I try to do. I try to get the balance right in all areas, you know, that we've got that. Now, I'm not saying that the aggressive players haven't got technical ability. They have. And I'm not saying that the technical players haven't got aggression. They have, but they might not have as much aggression as a Brad Hancock.
Yeah.
As a Callum Hewitt.
But that goal, you know, 35 yards out, he got the ball out of his feet. And I thought he's going to have a shot here because it's a Brad. He's just going to have a shot. And as soon as he left his boot, there were only one place that were going.
Oh, it was quality.
There was no keeper in the world were going to stop that. And believe me, Oliver Lombard's a very good goalkeeper.
Yeah. Well, it was, all three goals were quality. All three. Absolutely. And you know what was good about that game and the result was the fact that it just proves my point that how important the squad is and has to be.
Yeah.
Because the lads that when I've hyped on this season about picking the baton up and running with it, with all the players that have been missing for that game, right? Missing. You look at the goals. I mean, take Brad's goal out of it, but the other two goals, obviously Liam and Joel. You know, in retrospect, I know Joel's played a big part since the day that he's walked in the club, and he's been.
They're new to the club, aren't
He's
they?
he's been one of the first names on the team sheet. But the point what I'm trying to make is, you know, like your Ellis Orens and the contributing factor that's made, even Ollie Hodgson's and and Jack Airwoods. Jack's come on there and worked his socks off. We've just he, apart from being offside a couple of times, he was in. Slightly, and it was borderline whether they were offsides. But my point, what I'm trying to make is that it just shows the camp because in its true light. Because what I've seen it in the past at some clubs where your fringe players or your players that haven't been getting in all season have come on and played with a sulk. They've gone into the team with a sulk. These lads haven't gone into the team with a sulk. They've gone into the team with a spring in the step, and that I love it. I love it because it just shows that the team is the club is all one. You can throw a blanket over them. Everybody loves each other. Do you know what I mean? There's no bad apple.
But it's when they come on, Brent, like you say, they're effective. They're not sulking. They're when they come on, they're just as effective, if not even more so, because they've got bags more energy than the player who's gone off.
Yeah, correct. And it's good to see because they're not ego. They're not thinking, they're not thinking, well, I've seen it and I've heard it. This is why in the past I've had to nip certain things in the bud. I'm not going to mention any names or anything. But when you hear them chirpy, cheep behind you in technical area, and they're coming out with shite, I've had to deal with it. I mean, one player in particular, and I've had to, but he's grown up, he's matured, and he sorted himself out. And, that comes down to, I've had to be cruel to be kind. There's never been no element of doubt about his ability or his winning mentality because the kid I'm talking about, he's got that to abundance. But there comes a time where you can't overstep the mark and you can't be saying stuff and ridiculing your teammates.
I think they realise that it's not about him, is it?
Yeah, it's realised now. And let's be honest. While we're on that subject, he did fantastically well while he was on the pitch the other night. He did well. Yeah. In that position that he played in, he was doing well. And he has done well, and he's done well with these. But we're at a club at the minute. When everybody's fit, everybody is very, very good, talented footballers at this football club. And the competition is frightening. I mean, it's only 2 weeks ago, I had one of my former players, excuse me, through my captain and even through me, we're desperate to come back. Yeah. He wanted to come back. And I were open and honest with him. And I've gone, I could have easily, as a manager, gone to him and said, yeah, I'll take you back. Yeah, you can come and sign a form, get your transfer in, no problem. They're giving you game time, they'll release you, no problem. But I actually said to him, are you sure that you want to come back? Because what situation you're in now at the club you're at, you're going to be in exactly the same situation here. I'm not going to give you a guarantee that you're going to come straight into my team. Yeah. Now, whatever the players have been chatting to him on blinking Facebook or on freaking WhatsApp or whatever and saying, our right back's going to blinking Bombay Mix or wherever he is, Dubai or wherever, so there's a chance to blinking come back in. That's them saying it. They don't know what's in my mind. They shouldn't be saying stuff like that. It's blinking ridiculous. Well, I don't know where he frigging is. He's somewhere. Well, he's somewhere frigging back of beyond somewhere. In there, I don't know where he is. All I know is you get what I'm saying? But players shouldn't be saying that to him because at the end of the day, they don't know what's in my head, and it just proves my point when what I've done with Connor. Yeah, so there's no going. I can imagine him saying, "Oh, so-and-so's."
All that is, yeah.
Yeah, he's away on his holidays. He's gone, so there'll be an opportunity for you there. No, not necessarily. What you've been talking about? Speak to me first. So I can imagine that having gone on, the players come on and wanting to say, "Can I come back?" Well, yeah, of course you can come back, but are you sure it's the right? Are you sure you? I don't want you coming back and you're in the same boat as what you were at the club you're at.
Yeah.
Because I can't guarantee that you're going to walk straight back in.
Yeah. And I know the lad you're on about, and he's a good lad, isn't he? He's a good egg.
Oh yeah, he's a good lad, and he's a good footballer. He's a good player, but there were no guarantees he was going to walk straight into our team. No. In fact, just the opposite. It weren't going to happen.
Wasn't the right move for him.
It wasn't the right move, and that's what I mean, Steve. But I can only think that the players, whoever he's been talking to, have given him a bit of kind of encouragement and said, "Oh well, Ben's he's going away, and there's an opportunity for you to come back in there." Well, no, not necessarily, because there's other players that's been here all season, that's been here and stuck by us, that's waiting for their chance and who could step into that position.
Brent, we've got Nigel Langley with us. I don't know if it's supper time or whatever. Nigel Langley is flying back from Australia tonight via Dubai and not Bombay or whatever.
Well, it'll be good to see him when he's back. Yeah, probably as brown as a Bombay mix.
Great to have Nigel tuned in, and but it was a fantastic goal, and overall, Brent, a really good, solid performance, wasn't it? And into the next round, and I don't I've got to say this, and I'm blaming you.
You can't blame me.
You told me, "Hey, Steve, we've got Charlie next round, my mate. I've been seeing my mate, Mr. Robinson, Terry Robinson. Not playing Charlie, you dickhead."
Listen to me. Listen, I blame Joy Fallon's father. It was Joy Fallon's father weeks ago. He said to me, "I think we got Charlie next round." Listen,
Road's not even gone.
It hasn't even been drawn yet. Anyway, Charlie have gone out, so we haven't got Charlie. Anyway, I'm not bothered who we get, because at the end of the day, it'll be a great test for our lads. And you know what? One thing I've got to say this, and I really mean this. I can remember the late Eric Wally once saying to me, and for those who don't know who Eric Wally was, he was the stalwart behind Accrington Stanley, manager, chairman, owner.
Named the stand after him.
Took the club from non-league right the way through into the Football League. And he once said to me, "Brent, no matter how many trophies you've won in your time, you ain't a manager, right? You ain't been successful until you win this trophy, the Lancashire FA Challenge Trophy." And them words ring in my ears all the time. Yeah. He said, "I've won it a couple of times." And he said, "When you've won that trophy, then you can say you've been successful as a manager," he said to me. And when we got there in, I don't know when it were, 2014, I think it were, we got to the final against AFC Fylde, and the manager at the time is Stockport County's manager now,
Dave Chandler.
Chandler. He was the manager at the time, and we went toe to toe. And I thought, yes, this is it. I always remember Eric's words. Always remember them. We're in the final. It's now our chance to do that. Unfortunately, we played a top team and we fell just short. Nothing in it. Didn't disgrace ourselves. It was 2-0 on the night in the Reebok. But my point is, I keep telling you, these lads are the special ones, right? So the challenge is, we know we want promotion. Yeah, of course we're doing that. I want these special ones to be the ones that achieve that for us. But equally, these special ones could be the ones that deliver
the Lancashire Challenge Trophy.
Deliver that, what Eric Wally always said to me. And I'll take that to my grave, what he said to me. And if anybody can do it, these lads can do it.
Yeah. Well, there's no reason why they can't. No. I want to talk briefly, because we've been on for a good hour now, but I mean, A lot of changes at Old Trafford, Brent. I know we've been talking about it. Guys come in, Ruben from Sporting Lisbon, taking over the reins. I think it's a good move. I quite like this chap.
Listen, the proof of the pudding. Let's get one thing straight about Manchester United and everything about Manchester United. There's been some good managers in there over the past
7 years,
well, even probably the last 15 years, if you think about it, right? You know, Jose Mourinho, top different kind of manager, but top manager even today. And even the other week before Ruben were even muted, I would have took a punt on getting Jose back, in my opinion. You know, top manager. Louis van Gaal, listen, he was top, no matter what anybody thinks about that, he was a top manager, right? Top coach, top manager. So Louis van Gaal coming in, and then you've got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's a former player, did well. Yeah. You know, he came in, and you know there were a lot of people, but a lot of sentiment came behind Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And did I actually believe in Ten Hag? I think Ten Hag, I didn't really, if I've got to be honest, because I just think that he was a really, really nice man. But nice men can't be managers of Manchester United. You've got to be a ruthless steward.
We went to the cup final, and I think, you know, they won the cup, and I think what's happened there, the board have been too sentimental. They've given him an addition, and even before that cup final, we were saying, and fans were saying, that should have been his last game.
Yeah, I just don't know. You know, I'm not privy to on the recruitment or anything like that. But when everybody were going on about Van Nistelrooy, there's absolutely no way on this earth, and I knew this from a manager's perspective. They were never, as much as he was still in a 2-year contract, and as much as he was loved by Manchester United, me included, right? He was loved, but that sentiment coming into it. It was sentiment coming into it with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Could the new manager Ruben coming in, could he keep him in on the staff? He'd be a dead man walking if he did. Think about it logically. There's going to be a time in football, right? In his reign at Manchester United, there's going to be a time where results aren't going to be the best.
Yeah, he's going to be.
And that could be even now at the beginning. All the hype and all the talking, all the interviews at 4:00 this afternoon or 4:30 goes out the window. It's all about 3 points. Yeah. If they fail today, that's one off. Next game comes. And if he fails in the next game while he's still building, next thing. So straight away, if Van Nistelrooy is still around the club, it's going to only be a matter of time before people are going to be, especially the numbnuts element at Man United, right, who are going to be chanting, linking Van Nistelrooy's name and want Van Nistelrooy back in charge. So he couldn't have him. You can't, as a manager, if you want to succeed, you can't have him around. He had to move on because you need to clean break. He needs a chance. And it was never going to happen that Van Nistelrooy were going to stay on there. He never. And I think deep down, Van Nistelrooy knew that because, let's be honest, he would have known that. Yeah. But in terms of, you think it'll be a good move. The only thing, that's fine. But the only thing that's going to prove that it's a good move is the results, because Manchester United need results, and it's a result game. Now, I sit here and I'm a bit of a cynical, right? And I'm not going to I don't know enough about him, so I'm not going to even judge the guy. He comes over very, very well, and friendly with the players and great, and shows a lot of respect and everything. I get that, right? But the fact of the matter is, it's a pressure cooker, is Man United, and they've got to get results. Now, as a cynical person, and I sit there, and it's no surprise to me this. 3 weeks ago, Pep's not signed his deal at Man City, right? Okay, negotiations might have been on the table and they're talking about it. But equally, it's no surprise to me that probably they're in the know and they're in the sporting director, who was Rubin's sporting director. He's leaving Sporting. He's leaving the club where he's just come from to go to Man City. He's taking over at Man City. So the chances are the next port of call would have been for Rubin to go to Man City. And that's probably all the rumours, and everybody would have been saying, oh, well, he'll be following him, he'll go. So Man United, in my opinion, because they're in the know, they've actually made sure they've gone in. And that's why one of the things he wanted to stay, if you listen to his interviews and pick the bones out of it, he said, I come to Manchester United at the end of the season, I want to see it through with Sporting, right? And they've gone, no, it's take it or leave it time now. Because they're not stupid either. Because if that sporting director moves across to Man City, the chances are he's going to want him. But then as soon as it's no surprise that as soon as that Man United have got him over the line, right, that the new deal with Pep has been done.
Yeah.
That's my cynical thought. That's just my thoughts, that, right? Because they're all in the know. And that's why
it's a small world, isn't it?
Yeah, and going on to the situation now, while we're talking about Pep, right? Listen, Pep for me, since Fergie, and I know he's the coach, of a rival club that I support in Man United, but I might support Man United, but I love football and I love sport. And I mean, next week I'm going with my mate Simon Olding to watch Burnley and Middlesbrough. Right, so it doesn't matter, and who will I be rooting for? I'll be rooting for Burnley, obviously. Right, I love the game, and I love. It's like Scott Parker when people are not. I love Scott Parker. I listen to his interviews and everything. I loved him as a player. I loved him even when he was at Fulham as a manager. And I said before he got the Burnley job, he'd be good for Burnley. So I kind of look at, and in terms of Pep and Man City. Right, nobody can knock Pep. Pep's been absolutely fantastic, and still is. And he's a thinker. He's a great coach, and I've got nothing but admiration for him, irrespective that he's over the other side of the city and he's managing Manchester City. The fact of the matter is, and I hope the City fans don't take this the wrong way. I am absolutely ecstatic that he has now gone 5 games where he hasn't won. And this is nothing to do with Man City and nothing to do with being the cynical devil because I'm a red and it's against Man. It's nothing to do with that. In football, I've always said on this show as well, it's football. There's no guarantee he wins. No. Football can kick you in the teeth. 1 minute you've got your best side out. The next minute through injuries and suspensions, you might not have your best side out. And it's the luck of the draw. And it depends what, you can be the best coach in the blinking world. But at the end of the day, the best coach in the world can't guarantee you the results. Yesterday's game against Tottenham, it could have been all so different if Ireland hits the blinking back of the net. He's got opportunities, but he hasn't. Normally, he would put them away. If he puts them away, that game finishes blinking, 4-4 or whatever, or 5-4. The situation is, it's not happened. And my point is, any other club in the country that are losing 5 consecutive games, going into the 6 games, what happens is they're on the peripheral because clowns out there who watch football, sack the manager, we need a change, we need this. And the fact that it's happening to the best guy in the world, right now, in my opinion, just proves my point that you don't sack your manager, you back him. He will get it right again. They will come good, will Man City. Right, they will come good again. There's not an issue. He's having a bit of a bad time at the minute, yeah, but he'll come through it. And that is where the board and everybody else should back him. And I take that into, this is what I'm trying to say, I take that into every club in the country. Back your bleeding manager. Back him. Don't go against these freaking, listen to these half-wits that go on blinking TikTok and blinking whatever and challenge with a feet who can't even spell football. Back your manager. Look at the bigger picture. The sack race should be done and dusted. Get it out the blinking way. Stick by him. And the point is why I'm happy, not because I'm a Man United and I love to see Man City squalling in the defeats. Nothing to do with that. It's to do with the man at the top, even the best, can't get it right at the minute for whatever reason. So if he can't get it right, what chance of everybody else that's got sacked when they've been on 6-7 consecutive defeats?
Yeah. Well, we mentioned it, didn't we? The fact that he picks a team, but once he step over at white line, it's totally out of his control.
Correct. Exactly.
And if they're not following the instructions, right? You were telling me something, just mention it briefly. You were watching Match of the Day last night. You said Richards had got it spot on.
Well, yeah, I thought
Kyle Walker and the way that City was set up.
Yeah, I thought Michael Richards, when he explained everything about Kyle Walker on two of the goals on his position where he were, it was outrageous. And I mean, listen, we're not privy to what goes on behind closed doors, but if I were Pep, as much as he's been a loyal servant for Man City and he's been a top player, he wants a frigging rollicking. Because it's like he were being a bit abrasive, and on one of the goals, it was like he were being abrasive and thinking the player in question is out to his right, and he's like he's not even going to try and engage him. He's like trying to get in a race with him and thinking, I'll beat you when it comes to a race anyway. I'll beat you. And then, but at the end of the day, he didn't beat him. Yeah, exactly. And then at the end of the day, he didn't beat him. And then the ball's been put in. And then he's thinking, oh, shit, it's gone in net now. Well, you can't do that. It's just ridiculous. And so for me, he's let Pep down, in my eyes. You watch it again today, if it plays it back today, and watch it and listen. And then play Match at Day back and what Michael Richards was saying. And Michael Richards, in my opinion, were absolutely banged on. But this is another thing. I know it's modern football. And another thing, if you look at the videos of Fergie's successful eras at Man United, when you look at the back four of Man United over years and over time, and there's been different back fours, but let's go to like your Gary Neville, your Pallister, your Bruce, and your Dennis Irwin. They used to be a solid back four, solid. You'd see a shape, they're solid. Now it's like teams are playing with no defence. It's all about attack. And when they break, there's blinking that much. There's more space than what there is in blinking ocean.
Yeah, I think players are confused half the time because we mentioned it before. Too much instruction, asking them to do too many things, rather than just simplifying it and keeping the game simple, which football is.
Steve, simple. Listen, I'm not knocking anybody, but there's too many people out there want to be pet wannabes. And thinking, well, they want to try it and try what he does and let's see what we can do. But if you want to do that, the first team environment ain't the arena.
No.
The first team environment's not the arena. Go in the 21s, go in the 23s. You do your practice there. Don't do it in a first team arena because you're going to get picked off.
Yeah.
And especially in non-league, blinking it, you only have these players, a couple of hours a week. And then it's luckily if you've got them all together because you always have excuses. You've always got, like a player like Malachi Clark who's got a Bible. Look, I have a book here, right? I'll show you this book, right? I've got a book here, right? That book there, it's got Malachi Clark up front. It said, I have got more excuses to get out of training and miss games. And it's full. It's full. I've actually borrowed it off him. It's full of excuses.
What's today's excuse?
Well, we haven't got training, so I'll have to just wait till his next excuse. The other day he texted me, he said, if you need to contact me, my phone's broke. He said, they'll all have to be on WhatsApp. He's always got something. But my point being, joking apart, my point being, too many people want to be. The game, people say the game's changed. I mean, what way's the game changed? I don't know how the game's changed. The game's changed because probably it's quicker. There's more athletes playing.
Yeah.
I remember Walter Joyce saying to me when I worked with Walter Joyce, God rest his soul, he said, Brent, in years to come, he said, I'm telling you now, he said, clubs won't be looking at anybody unless they're 6'4" and athletes they can run. And it's been proved right. That's exactly how it's gone. Yeah. 6'4" and you can run. But other than that, why has the game changed? You tell me. When they talk about low block, mid block, high block, well, it's the same as keeping an eye line or dropping off or squeezing on.
But it doesn't need to change. The only thing is that it's changed because due to the courses that these coaches and managers are going on, the modern day coaches, that they're being taught in these methods and they're taking them back to wherever they came from.
Well, that's right, and it's the same with the referees. Exactly the same with the referees. I had a conversation here about 3 weeks ago when there was a Sunday League game on the FA Vars, that team from Barnsley playing Old Rochdalians, and there are two experienced referees in here. One were on the line, Dave Chisnell. He were on the line, and he referees in the Northwest Counties. Yeah. And your mate, what's he called from Burnley?
Oh,
we had him at Olker.
Corn.
What's he called?
Corn. Is it Corn? Paul Corn or something like that?
I'm not sure. We had him at Olker. He said he played football. I think he said he was Ollie Hodgson's dad.
Yeah. He's from Burnley.
Well, he's a very, very good referee. I actually said to the Barnsley lads here, I said, they were coming out of changing rooms with a coffee in their hand, and I went.
But they're kind of old school. They're kind of old school. Dave and the referee. They talk to players. The community.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, we had a conversation there, and they know what's going on in the FA and with in the schooling of these young kids. And we had a good conversation there, and it's the schooling of these young kids that is wrong. And this is what brings the arrogance out of everything. And it's wrong what they're doing. And it's the same with these coaching courses. You're one of these coaching courses that you have to have. Unfortunately, you've got to go to the FA. But the FA don't even get it right, because straight away now, how are they getting it right when, I'm not being disrespectful, our national team's being run by a German? It's madness. You can't make it up. It's madness. You know, two fingers. Our British coaches, English coaches ain't good enough. Oh, our national team will get run by a German. Yeah. It's wrong.
Come and get your coaching badge, but it's not worth the paper it's written on.
Correct. But listen, it is what it is, and this is why I'm saying Man City's situation currently at the minute. Another loss chalked up by the best coach in blinking world football, right, in club level, in my opinion, is healthy for the game. In terms of smell the coffee, you're no guarantee a win. There's no guarantees you win football matches. It's not that easy. If it were that easy, it isn't that easy. And it's proving it now with Pep.
Nigel Langley, I love it. Alf Garner. Thank you.
Well, listen. He's the biggest one. He's the biggest one. Pep wannabe. Blinking heck. Lessen it up. Less is more. What did
Jamie Rollins say to us? Old school is new school.
Correct. 100%.
Right. Very quickly. Dayshill next week. Lads will be in training this week, and then we've got a trip to Dayshill. Always good games against Dayshill as well, aren't they? Always have good games against them.
It'll be a good game. It's
friends.
Yeah, it'll be. Listen, there's no easy games in the Northwest Counties League. I'm boring. I'm going to be boring. There's no easy games. I don't know where they come from. They'll be competitive, you know, and you've just got to be, you know, as a football team, as Bacup Borough, we've got to come, no matter what team I pick, you've got to come focused, mentally prepared, physically prepared, and ready to go into action for an hour and a half. I mean, the scary thing for me is, which I never like, is they've arranged the Christmas meal for after that game, and I hate it. You know, I'd rather a Christmas meal never be on when it's a non-match day, because on a match day it just throws a damp squid. If you win, it's great, fantastic. If you lose, it just throws it. It's that just so an anticlimax. But they don't. I've got no. That's something the players have done, and but I just don't think it's. I think it's morally it's not right. I think on a match day you focus for the match, and you don't, because they talk in the changing room. But if I hear it, I'll go mad. I'll be talking. Oh, we're going out after. We're doing this. We're doing that. Yeah. Well, no, we're freaking stuffing Dayshill are trying to do.
I remember a few seasons ago we were playing away at Pilkington, or it might have been St Helens, and I think it was Gerv and a few others were watching Man United game, weren't they? Changing room, you went off your head.
Ridiculous. Honestly, it's ridiculous. You know,
modern day football, Brent.
It is, but they've got to live and learn. They're a good set of bunch of young lads, and well, Gervin isn't. He'll be getting his pension before long, but he'll be like he'll be joining Gareth. But
Should have
the
ended
rest,
it on that. They both got signed up for Zimmer frames.
yeah.
See you later,
So,
mate.
see you later, pal.